Okay, gang, I'm back at it. Had an emergency repair on the printer, but I got that all squared away. We're at the sensor for the puff and chuff triggering system, and I've got a kind of a breadboard going here to verify the logic. I had built the board, but it wasn't working. I wasn't sure why. I think it was my choice of LEDs, but I've got a circuit here, which, you know, it's a little difficult, but I've got the motor power coming out of here in addition to going to the motor to the brushes. So this is the brush power coming out, and it's whatever the transformer is telling it in the way of voltage, but the logic is it's forward, neutral, reverse, forward, right? So it's going to go positive, nothing, neutral, positive, neutral, negative, neutral, positive again. So it switches, okay? So what I've got here is I've got an LED lit up on the positive side and an LED that lights up on the negative side. So when the negative side is actually positive, he will light. There's a diode to protect the diodes from the reverse flow. So one, I've got the cover, the shroud off of one, onto the other. It's off of that one, it's on this one. So this one's lit, this one's not lit. When this one's lit, that one's not lit. And then that circuit goes through 5 volts, independent of everything else. 5 volts goes up to the system. So what you'll see is right now we have power to the forward LED. The LED is not in circuit, so you won't see anything going on. Now, I go to neutral, and what you'll see, maybe you'll hear it more than you'll see it because the smoke has gotten, I cooled it off because I talk so much, but it is in idle mode. You can hear it. Hear it? That's the idle fan, okay? So the idle fan's working when it's in neutral, no light. Oh, heck. Now, that light is lit up, and what you'll see now is we're getting, well, I don't know if you can see it, but we are getting a puffing action of smoke. Puffing. We're getting some puffing action. We're getting pulses. I'm still not convinced I got the right blade in. I'm going to check that fan and make sure I got the full blade. And then I'm going to have to look at the durations of the brake and chuff to get the smoke pulse to be better, okay? But as I crank it up, I get a little more heat into the smoke. That blinky's just banging about. But you can see there'll be some pulses coming out. There you go. Now you can see pulses coming out. And that's different than when we go to neutral. When we go to neutral, we just have a steady state. Okay? And so the forward and reverse and neutral, idle is working from this glob here. So what I have to do is replace these LEDs with those LEDs, and or get another chunk here. Maybe I'll use this chunk and build this into a circuit board. Put this together. I got to add a little more circuitry here so that the output signals are getting the output signals are in series with the 5 volts. So I got the 5 volt winding over here. Oh, that's just 5 volts going in. I'm sorry. I have the 5 volts. Oh, here it is. Yes, coming into here, and it goes over to this guy, and it goes through that switch. If it's opened, it's closed, it functions. And if it functions, then that means that it's going to continue to come over here and get 5 volts. So it's going to get 5 volts if either one of these is triggered. And when it gets that 5 volts, it goes up here to this boy and triggers that. And that's when he goes into puff and brake mode versus idle mode. So right now we're in the idle mode. We're sitting at the station. I go to neutral to chuff, and there it is. Now it's chuffing. It would be chuffing. It's not wired in, but it would be. And there it is. It's in the other state now. Yeah, that state is on. and it's now chuffing. Okay. Oh, jeez. Anyway, this is a circuit. I got it figured out. So I'm going to build that, and I'm going to put it in the tender because there's just no room out here. It's just too crazy. Now, the beauty of doing that, I don't think I've shown anybody this yet because I've been busy, believe it or not. The beauty of putting this circuit here is if I put this circuit here, there's room right in here, speaker 2, it takes its 10 volts out before it gets set off. And so now we're going to have the puff and chuff circuit and the sound, the puff and break and the puff and chuffs, all of that is going to be here. And then the only wiring that needs to go forward might be the trigger come back and the sound go forward, or we put the sound here. We'll see how it sounds. If I can get a bigger speaker in here, that would be a big plus. And then this circuit will all be back here. So the only thing that goes forward would be 2 wires to run the relay when it needs to be triggered, and the trigger for the chuff sound. Now we've really streamlined our load of the packaging, put it in the tender. And what happened was, what Andy kind of talked me into, was getting rid of this buck boost board and going to these two 78, a 7808 and a 7805. 8 volts comes out of here, 5 volts comes out of here, 5 volts goes to the relay, 8 volts goes to the puff and break. And the 8 volts will go to the sound. And that's low amps, so there'll be plenty of power. So it sounds like we got the wiring. We've had to make this shift. That's where I was kind of hiding for a few days, figuring out, boy, do I really need to do I want to do that? It's a matter, you have to do this. This just isn't going to fit. And you want to do other engines. You know, you want to do the K5, the Pacific, the 290. Come on, you know, but put it in the tender. You've got the room. Get rid of that buck boost board. Lots of real estate opened up when I took that thing out, and there we are. So this looks like a jumble. It's a little messy, but I had to prove out, because when I built the first one, it didn't work. I go, what the hell? And I'm finding that the LEDs, those LEDs just aren't quite right. These ones here seem to be working perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble those into a breadboard, and it'll be ugly, but it'll fit, and everything else should work fine. Meanwhile, I'm going to check on the fan and find out why are we not getting more smoke, see what I need to do for that. All right, gang. Sorry for the big hiatus, but that was it. And I put some idlers you could see on there, upper roller bearing down there and a roller bearing down there, and that keeps that filament from binding as it comes down. I know it sounds silly, but it was important for me. I've been rubbing into that, wearing, causing wear, friction, blah, blah, blah. I wanted to fix it. I got my dual fans. You can see them. I'll see if I can do this here. Oh yeah, look at them. See those 2 red things hanging down right there? Those 2 red, those are ducts. Up above them is a blower fan, one on each side. So I got air coming in under the extrusion nozzle to cool the filament. It's really great, and that's working out nice. The whole machine is really working out nice, so that's a good thing. All right, so back to getting this thing fixed and put together, and I'm hoping it's only 3:15, so I made terrific progress this afternoon. So I'm going to build this into a breadboard and try to stuff it in there, and as soon as I'm able, I'm going to run over to the track and see what we can do now. Yeah, okay, later.